Men sentenced with 25 years in prison for creating his own Linux distro. Police thought the man was part of a terrorist organization. A man received 25 years in prison as a result of creating his own Linux distribution. The reason he was sentenced 25 years is because his distro allegedly supports terrorist motives and organized crime. Remember, you only have to arouse reasonable suspicion for the cops to consider taking legal action against you, and the evidence proves this whole case was nothing but a victimless crime that destroyed an innocent man's life. Now he has nothing to do. He has no family, no friends, no Linux, no nothing. The only thing he has is his prison guards bashing him to death each and every day. How fucking cruel, to treat a computer-savvy person like that like absolute dog shit. It's things like this that really annoys me and triggers me when it comes to catching the criminals, because this man did not support ISIS, which was the alleged terrorist organization his distro was supposedly supporting, but the court case said otherwise. The man had no intentions of using his distro for terrorist purposes either. He did not have the Tor browser installed, or any nefarious software which is infamously used by terrorist organizations. Yet the cops did not give a flying fuck. Instead, they deliberately pushed charges and jail time, even though the man also proved that he was not part of a secret terrorist organization and that his distro was not to be used for nefarious purposes. And when judge, jury, and executioner finally get to see the man was sentenced with 25 years in prison, with no bail, and I cannot remember if he received a fine or not, but considering his jail time was so high, fines would have likely incurred, possibly ranging from a few thousand to hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly even millions, because the man was treated like someone who had betrayed American society. There's a very good chance the man is still in jail today, because it was not that long ago when this happened. But rather than catching real terrorist, police will arrest anyone who they think is a terrorist, or fits the description of the suspect they are after. So yes, Linux can indeed land you in prison. This is probably the best case to prove that point. Even if you have no nefarious intentions or proof of bad intentions, the cops can lock you up for creating what they think supports terrorist motives. So even though the Linux distro had absolutely nothing to do with ISIS or any terrorist group, the man is still rotting away in jail to this very day for nothing. Literally, nothing. So if doing nothing lands you in jail, why shouldn't we break the law? As Martin Luther King said, when injustice becomes the law, we must break the law at every opportunity. So if creating a Linux distro is breaking the law, we must abuse that opportunity. And if the cops don't want such a bad image painted of themselves on the wall, then maybe you bastards need to actually catch the real ones who pose a danger to our lives. Arresting people for taking advantage of open source software is scumbag level behavior. You're a despicable cunt who's a disgrace to that uniform and badge. Your authority is non-existent. You do not have power over me, or anyone else for that matter, and when I see the police taking people away for free and open source software, I get so fucking triggered and angry like you wouldn't believe. It honestly makes me want to become dictator for a day and overthrow all the current systems that are in place. Sadly, I am not in such a position of power, and I never will be, but we the people have the power. If you can have enough common sense in your brain to tell you that police are not the good guys, then you need to start uniting with one another. If we all come together and form unity, the cunts in power cannot stop us from rioting, protesting, or overthrowing their power and so-called democracy. If America was a democracy, you would not go to jail for creating a Linux distro. The fact that making a Linux distro, without nefarious purposes, can land you 25 years in prison, or possibly even more, tells me that democracy is a fucking con job that's not real. Democracies would not allow for human rights violations, and to me, arresting people for taking advantage of software is a human rights violation. We should all be entitled to the same software, regardless of our ethnicity, social and wealth status, etc. But sadly, that's not how things work in our current climate. Instead, If you dare think for yourself and try to go outside the monopolistic markets, the police will punish you with every penalty known to mankind. So don't you dare think about creating a Linux distro without watching this video and fully understanding it first, because as this case proves, it really is becoming a crime to use operating systems which are not owned by Microsoft, Google, or Apple, or whoever it may be that's a big tech giant, and creating a Linux distro attracts vast amounts of unwanted attention, even if your distro is not designed for nefarious use cases, and you prove your intentions are harmless. Do you really think the pigs are gonna give a shit, especially after seeing this case? Of fucking course they won't give a shit. If they know that you are someone who actively supports open source software and online rights, they will come get your ass and you won't see it coming. This is also the most extreme example of how using Linux can land you in prison, and the cops can try push charges against you even if there is nothing to convict you on. So lesson be learned, kids, stay away from Linux unless you're prepared to go to jail for the rest of your life. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.